My next guest is an accomplished young woman. Elected as the federal president of the Young Liberals in January 2020, Jocelyn Sutcliffe has led the group to great success and to advocate strongly for their beliefs. And next week, she wraps up her tenure as leader. Jocelyn, thank you for your time. Now, is it a mixture of relief, sadness, or just gratitude that you're wrapping up your time as federal Young Liberal president?
Well, thanks for having me, Cory. It's fantastic to be on the show with you. Look, my term as federal president has been an incredible opportunity. It affords me a position on our federal executive of the Liberal Party, as you well know, which means that I'm seated a few seats down from the Prime Minister, our Treasurer, and other leaders within our organisational wing of the party, which gives me great access to the inner workings of our party, but also allows me to advocate for our values and what matters to young Liberals in that particular forum. So, look, it's bittersweet, but all good things come to an end, and I'm really pleased to be handing over to the next person.
Well, I won't ask you tonight to spill the beans on what happens and how the Prime Minister behaves behind closed doors in those meetings, but politics is full of skullduggery, it's full of the machinations of Machiavellian sort of manoeuvring. Did you experience that within the Young Liberals, or was it an organisation that was more largely focused on the policy agenda for young people?
Cory, you know as well as anyone the rough and tumble of politics. It's good fun. You know, you've just got to get yourself involved, have a go, be courageous, have an opinion. I like to think that most people respect me for that. They might not agree with my opinions, but they can appreciate that I'm getting involved. The Young Liberals always advocates to be the strongest and most consistent voice for our Liberal values. My experience has been a positive one. And I know there's good people involved who will continue to be involved well beyond the time that I age out, which is quickly approaching.
Well, it's for young people, obviously, Jocelyn, but the Young Liberals are the largest and most active youth political movement in the country, and they're always advocating for what I would say, and you've just said, are the traditional Liberal values of smaller government, of lower taxes, of private enterprise and fostering freedom. These things seem to be a little bit out of favour amongst some of our more senior politicians. So is the Young Liberal movement still as relevant as it once was, or is it more important now than ever?
Cory, I think it's more important now than ever, particularly in this post-pandemic world. We are going to see continued fight for our values, and that's why it's so pleasing and encouraging to see so much talent, young talent, within the federal parliament, particularly plenty of people that have come through the Young Liberal movement. You know, we're talking about issues. Obviously, the economy is a great concern to young Liberals and young Australians, but we're confident about the leadership of the Prime Minister and that of the Treasurer, not just nationally, but the international leadership they've shown. And the fact is that our nation is in a great position to recover from the economic downfall of the pandemic, and that is because of the incredible leadership of Liberal national coalition governments. So, of course, there's that side of things, but there's also the values-based side of things, which, as I've said, the Young Liberals strive to be the most consistent voice within our broader party. We absolutely have a role to play. These are issues like freedom of speech, academic freedom on campus, and importantly, one that I think that is going to become particularly important in the months and years ahead is the discussion around superannuation. We are so pleased to see people like the likes of Senator Claire Chandler in our federal parliament. She's a former federal president of our movement, and she's advocating for these values day in, day out. She is showing incredible courage, and it's quite amazing to think about the fact that she was only elected midway through 2019, and she's had such an incredible impact. Areas like freedom of speech, sex-based rights, and she's leading the charge on this discussion around women's sport in Australia.
Yeah, it's very encouraging to see someone do that. Jocelyn, one of the criticisms we hear from, out there and from the members of the public is that our politicians have only ever pursued this path of coming out of uni, getting involved in the Young Liberal, Young Labor, Young Greens, working for a politician, and then, they've got no life or career experience except in brunch stacking. I think it's encouraging, and we need to get more young people involved in it, but do you agree that we need more multi-dimensional people getting into politics? And what's your pursuits or your encouragements or interests outside of young Liberals or Liberal Party politics per se?
Yes, I do agree, Cory. I think we need people with a wealth of experience and knowledge from all types of sectors. And I think that generally speaking, we do see that in the Liberal and National parties. They might be farmers, they might have come through from the professions, they might have trades, they might have served in our forces. So we do see that in the Liberal Party, and it's really pleasing to see. In terms of my personal background, my professional background, I'm a lawyer. I work at a fantastic firm in Adelaide. I love what I do. I'm surrounded by great people. Every day is a challenge. It's a little bit like politics in that regard. No 2 days are the same. And I absolutely love what I'm doing. And as a matter of fact, I've actually returned to university, so who knows, I might find myself in student politics yet again, but really pleased to be back studying. It's keeping me busy. I'm enjoying my MBA studies at the University of Adelaide.
Well, that's a very busy life, but do you rule out an entry into politics or potentially pursuing a career in politics in the future?
Cory, I never rule out anything. Any opportunity that comes my way, I'm more than willing to give consideration to, but the reality is I'm really enjoying the work that I'm doing in the law. It's challenging. I love it, and I love the advocacy work that I get to pursue.
Spoken like a seasoned political operator, Jocelyn. I've got one more question for you, though. Do you think we need to see more women in politics? Because that's the sort of mantra and the shtick that's going around in many Liberal circles at the moment, pushed by the Labor Party and the Greens, of course. But where do you sit in that space?
Cory, I'm incredibly optimistic about the future of the Liberal Party. When you've got the likes of, as I said, Senator Claire Chandler, people like Senator Amanda Stoker recently being elevated to the ministry. These are highly intelligent, capable young women, strong, conservative women who are having a go. They're courageous. They're not afraid. And that is incredibly inspiring to me. Again, you've just got to look to the backbench. And I think the future of the Liberal Party is bright. As you know, federal president of the Young Liberal movement, plenty of young women in our ranks doing great things, advocating for our values. So I think it's all positive.
Well, the two senators that you mentioned there are both rock stars. I wish them every success. I know them personally. And if they are your guiding lights, you've got great footsteps to follow in. Jocelyn Sutcliffe, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me, Cory.